Welcome back to BalletWise. My name is Michael Wise, its host and its creator. On this channel, we like to talk about different subject matters and news that happens within the ballet world, and we try to get you to start a conversation. So today, a lot's been happening in the ballet world, and I want to talk about how ballet companies are failing dancers. Now, the number one thing that ballet companies have a responsibility to do is to produce high-level content because they have to sell it. But the problem is that companies are not doing a very good job of developing their dancers. Some companies believe if they just bring in new choreographers or introduce new styles of movement, that that's what's going to develop the dancer. But you have to understand that the dancer's body will respond to those different types of changes in movement and will actually affect the way the body works and looks. So let me give you an example. If you have a ballet company that calls themselves a ballet company first, but they do nothing but contemporary works, their dancers are probably not going to be able to do classical works very well because they're going to be more into the floor. They're going to develop their legs very differently. And then they turn around and expect them to be able to hit 5, 6 pirouettes or be able to balance on point or to be able to have that look and that feel of a ballet dancer. I'm not saying that having varying different styles is necessarily bad. But when a company moves too far in one direction, it's going to have an effect on the way it looks when you move the other direction. Now, what I mean by ballet companies are failing dancers, there's no development. Most ballet companies, the company class is a joke. Company class should be you returning back to school. It should not be an exercise in choreography. You're there to get the dancer ready, established, and grounded in the technique. So a solid class will help not only develop the dancer that it should be, but will also help elevate the dancer so they will continue to improve. And dancers, we need to consistently improve. A dancer's never done. But if companies aren't going to take the development of their dancers seriously, then they're expecting the dancers to develop themselves. And that's not how it works. We're in a very technical art form. And there's a reason why ballet masters and ballet mistresses exist. Because we're there to develop that dancer, to help push their boundaries, to keep them hungry. And when companies ignore that or treat it kind of like something that's not important, or they just have another dancer in the company teach the class, you're really being disrespectful to what those dancers are capable of doing. There's another problem. If dancers aren't hungry, if dancers aren't always striving to be better, if you create an atmosphere where complacency is expected, the level of your company is going to go downhill. Dancers are always looking to get the job. But the best companies are always developing their dancers. That's why those companies continue to grow and develop and be better and better and better year after year, because they're putting the time and the energy into developing those dancers. Every dancer has been trained to be trainable. Why do we spend all those years in ballet school? Being all those years in a ballet school put us in a position where we are trainable, where we can learn and develop new choreography, old choreography, staged ballets. But if we take away that integral component, then all of a sudden we're relying on the dancer to do it all on their own. Well, and what was the point of making them trainable? Dancers need training. Olympic athletes need training. They have to constantly keep working. They have people working with them at all times. How is a dancer any different? Ballet requires it. But now, dancers, they're required to do some things as well. Right now in ballet companies, and I'm seeing this, there are what I refer to as legacy dancers. There are dancers that aren't hungry anymore. There are dancers that don't really want to work that hard anymore. Or they're constantly dealing with injuries and they're not able to keep up with the work. I don't want to be mean or rude, but the ballet world should not dumb it down to meet them. There are too many extremely well-trained dancers that are hungry and ready to work out there that are never going to get a chance because you have people that have developed a level of complacency in companies. And I realize that we all want to have that job, but we're in an industry that is short-lived. We can only dance until we're a particular age, and that's going to be dependent on each of us. There are some dancers that can go all the way into their 40s and still be dancing extremely high. But the difference is there are also dancers that when they start getting to their 30s, they become accident prone. They get injured more often. And sometimes we have to understand that we have to clear the way so we can bring in that next generation that will continue to allow ballet companies to grow and develop. But now, dancers also fail companies because, once again, we are meant to be trainable. So when we come into a company, we don't need to be copying an attitude or telling people we know better, because the reality is we probably don't. You can be the best dancer on the planet, but if you cop an attitude or disrespectful to the people in that company, you're not going to have a job for very long. I've seen it happen way too many times. We're at a time and period right now, like I said, we have brilliant dancers waiting in the wings. So we as dancers have to prepare ourselves to be trainable and work hard and love the work, love the soreness. We are in an industry where injuries are going to happen, but understanding your bodies and taking care of it and doing the things you need to do to recover are super, super, super important. But ballet companies also have the responsibility to the dancers, because if you're not training them, if you're not giving them the tools they need to have, you're not going to get the best out of them. Ballet companies need to step up and start taking a lot more notice of how the conditions their dancers are working in. Long hours are known. It's going to happen. That's not the problem. The problem is if you're not developing, if you're not coaching, if you're not working, if you're not mentoring your dancers, they're not going to be in a position to give you the best they have to offer. But if a dancer's not willing to be coachable, well, then you're not giving anyone a chance. Is there something you think that we could do better? Is there something that you think that companies need to be paying more attention to that will help the company be better? Remember, the number one goal here is that we want these ballets that companies are doing, we want them to sell. We want ticket sales. But if you're producing garbage because you can't keep your dancers ready and developed, well, that's not going to sell more tickets. But if you're also a dancer that cops an attitude and is not willing to be teachable and is not willing to do the work, it doesn't matter what that company does. So let me know what you think. Talk to us. Start that conversation. Let's build this. Because once again, our number one goal here is to help companies be better. But we also want to see dancers be better as well. So, my name is Michael Wise. This has been BalletWise. And remember, keep dancing and be the best person you can be. Bye.